coming, Mary.
Sure you let her in online.
I didn't
And
hear,
me.
I didn't hear,
I didn't have any
recording.
problem.
it didn't say recording.
Not yet.
Oh, there it goes. Got it. Got it. Holy God. it's on here.
Oh, that's your fever. Thanks for saying
No,
that.
it's not my fever.
Comes and smell like also great. You're saying that. Well, have a seat.
Sure an
Yet.
iPad.
I'll
Yeah,
have
sure,
that
an
on,
iPad.
Mary.
Yeah.
Go up here to vote.
You're so nice.
There's something missing here.
That needs to be blue.
There's a button right there.
No, when that turns blue, then you know it's communicating. That's what Andre said the other night. You
We're
didn't,
trying, Mary.
you didn't hit record on there, did you?
Yeah. And why don't you hit start video? Because it's trying to. Oh, well,
You're right.
Yeah.
I gotta start over.
Oh,
no, I hope not.
We do.
No, there you go. Start video.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
But I haven't found Mary, right? Are you
Two
there, Mary?
participants. Yeah. So
To
Should I put it here?
One at a time.
Can you hear us, Mary?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, we see you now.
Hey, there you are.
Yay.
Okay.
It's not 7 o'clock yet.
Ask her to move a little closer to the laptop.
what a guy.
Oh,
To the- Who changes these calendars over?
The cleaning lady.
She hasn't been here this month.
That one. is still-
Would you like a Pepsi?
No, I'm good, thanks. I'm not sick. Relax.
You're not? I've got some hand sanitizer.
We're just waiting till 7 o'clock,
Don't get baby.
Mary.
Yeah. Need one of those plastic curtains.
Divide the dividers. Close. Wow. I'm starting the meeting. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Public Works Committee meeting, April 5th. Called order. Oh, here, use mine.
No, thank you.
Moved by Donna, seconded by Corvid, that the Public Works Committee meeting be opened at 7 PM. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Steve, seconded by Jason, that the agenda for the Public Works Committee meeting for April 5th, 2023 be approved as circulated, amended.
So
Oh,
you circulate it? If there's no amendment to
I was
the,
wondering why that was like that.
Yeah.
All in favor? Carried. Moved by Jason, second by Donna, that the minutes of the Public Works Committee meeting held March 1st, 2023 be adopted as circulated. All in favor? Carried.
We have to sign the minutes.
Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest, general nature thereof? Seeing none. Delegation,
We had a delegation, however, he's unavailable this evening. Something came up. So we will try to scooch it along to have him come back at a council meeting instead of waiting till the next month's Public Works meeting. However, we're all quite busy next. Yes, we're all gone for a week.
right. Correspondence, information.
I added, this came from, we have a magazine with AORS, the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors. There's been a lot of question as to how we're dealing with our inspection stations. There was a training session set up and they've canceled. So the MTO is it says here, they're 6 months now behind what they originally had projected to do. What affects us as a township is that they're saying, so now every certification for every inspection station in Ontario is no longer signed off by the mechanic. So the mechanic takes a tablet, does his inspection through a camera that is sent off to the MTO, and then the MTO they issue the certification now. So you have to buy a printer that prints the yellow sticker that goes on the window of your vehicle to prove that it's safety for our CVR vehicles. And it looks like the cost will be $2,000 to the township. However, relatively, since the fire department has their vehicle safety, the same as the Public Works Department, really, if you break that amongst the vehicles, it really isn't that high of a cost. We have looked to see if our mechanic that we share with many municipalities was able to purchase just one tablet and we all share the cost. But this is kind of the first time that it's been brought to light how much the cost actually is. So in my opinion, I don't feel that the cost would be instrumental in the budgeting process, especially if we split it up amongst all of our vehicles. And the likelihood would be that that mechanic would probably need a tablet for each inspection station. So I just wanted to pass along as information, because even like we just had an e-test done, and that is also done by a tablet. He does the e-test, it's sent off to them. But honestly, I got that e-test back in probably 3 minutes from the MTO.
Well, I'm wondering on the inspections, how long that's gonna take.
Yes,
Do you jack your trucks up and leave them sit for how long?
it could be an issue. And like I said, we haven't had any formal training yet. They've canceled all the training and they've yet rescheduled it.
And the tablet that they're already using, we can't use that tablet?
The e-test is done by a
By a
mobile
Prime, yeah.
e-tester, so we don't actually have the tablet. So I don't know if it's a special tablet, if it's given to you by the MTO and it's identified through IP address for your inspection station. We don't know very much information. That's actually the first information that's came to light
Yeah.
at all.
So did I hear you say we need a tablet for each station?
We only have one.
If
We
you,
will need one.
One,
if you
yes.
had more
Thank you.
than one mechanic.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's good.
So I just brought it up to bring forward to let you know what's coming down the pipe. You're hearing us okay, Neri?
I'm just trying to put you guys up a little bit.
Okay. Did you want us to turn up a bit?
Oh, okay. Now I've lost it.
We still have you.
Ah. What happened?
Can you hear us?
You can hear us, right, Neri?
I can hear you. Go ahead. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Okay, we see
That's probably a
you.
good thing. Number 7, new business. Recommendation to council. Review public works budget for referral to general government.
Should I go through the entirety
No, we
if you
probably
wish?
should,
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
that's what I would suggest. Sorry.
No, it's,
Sorry, I just have to tear this off all the way.
Give another paper copy of it, so I could go.
I could do that right now if I may be excused a moment.
Yeah. if you're- I mean,
Does everyone wish to have one?
Yes.
Yeah,
paper's always. the
yeah,
best.
this isn't
Yes,
really fun
yeah,
to,
No.
you look a little silly on camera when you're doing this one. Unlike Steve.
No,
We're
but it
stoic all the
doesn't,
time.
it doesn't actually work when
No, I know.
it flips, so,
And isn't that weird how that does
yeah,
that?
yeah.
That goes with the day.
I met Jeff at the grocery store today,
Oh, did you?
getting ready to go.
I didn't get inside his car, so I called him yesterday.
To get him his.
Oh, yeah. And then, how much was it?
$70 for 50,
$70?
yeah.
So I'll pitch in. I think the mayor wants
For
to
what?
pitch in too. We just got Jeff like $70 or
€50, which costs
50
70
for a truck.
Canadian.
well,
thanks.
Yeah, it's like $10
Yeah.
each.
I don't know if I can afford that.
Nobody even asked me.
Yeah, me neither, Steve. Don't worry.
No, it's more of a help thing.
It was
You owe us
from
$10. I mean, by us, I mean
And
her.
Donna, buy your chocolate.
It's not for you. Steve.
$11
It's to take
now.
home. You need to take it home. All right, Steve?
Okay.
That's not for you.
He's gonna eat the car.
No,
I
he's
wanna
not.
eat it.
No, he's not. He's gonna take it home.
You won't.
I know, he's being very good.
Yeah,
Dedicated.
I'm
good for
gonna,
you.
I'm gonna bring us something healthy next week. So,
I was gonna try and bring your dish back on next council and see if Mel will fill it with something. Yeah, I wanted to get in to say goodbye. But I didn't. I couldn't get
I
in.
only saw him, I came in to sign a card, but I only saw him today at the grocery store, and that's how I said goodbye to him, so.
Yeah, I couldn't sign it
looking at
inside.
it, yeah. And then it was just by chance that I saw Nikki too, right? So I wouldn't have seen her. Have you seen her yet? No.
Not in this role yet. no.
I have.
Oh, have you?
She was at my recreation meeting.
Oh, nice.
She
Well,
just
she couldn't
said
bother
that
showing
up
you
with
were
my
at
PAC
the
meeting.
I was at the
She's
library
hitting them
meeting.
all.
I know.
Apparently planning advisory is less important.
She said, I didn't want to go to the library.
Oh, but shots fired.
Only from Steve.
Been on that committee for 5 years now, and that was the first time to see those things. in here.
I think if you would have had this, and it would have been.
Oh, yeah, no, I've, it's the bottom one. I'm looking for. It's 3%.
Yeah, right. But I'm like, who is director of public works?
Lucky that it's here, our coffee would still be going.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hot off the press.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is actually.
Still smells like Ditto machine.
You can't beat paper.
You're right, Dan.
So as you can see, as I do my budget, I go through it line by line to explain if there's an increase, a decrease, why that may have occurred. For revenues, because the plantation did well, and we have not yet decided on where the revenue should be placed for the plantation. I suggest that it be put into the public works budget as a one-time expense to pay for the motor, which was a one-time expense. We'll see what Mr. Rogers has to say about that once he populates all of the budget for it to be presented to the general government. The Yes Employment Program this year, we'll get more revenue from it because of minimum wage increase. The numbering system. So the numbering system is when people come in to get a 911 number placed on their property. Because of COVID, it was like out the roof, the amount of severances and how many of those signs we had to sell. Currently, we are not charging enough for those signs. So we do have discussion once the budget is passed to change some of our user fees because actually it's costing the township money to
Yeah,
issue
so we're not
those.
breaking even.
No.
Okay.
So if we increase the fees, it'll be the 1,100 would be still there. Permits, once again, this is not a reflective number, the $920 from last year for entrance. Because of COVID and severances, etc. This is another user fee, and it's been spoken quite a bit through our departmental head meetings that we would like to review our user fees and change quite a few of those things.
What do we pay user fees on?
Well, we have lots of user fees. For instance, if you come in to get a severance, you would pay a fee for that.
That's right,
Or
right?
right. So we haven't had a great review of that in several years. So we would like to bring ourselves up to a level.
Well, we want to be comparable to what's in. the-
Exactly.
What do
And
we-
those fees are meant to be like so not every taxpayer pays for something. The person that needs to use the service
Right.
would
It's a
pay
user
for
fee,
their,
yeah.
right,
What is an entrance permit worth?
$30.
Yeah.
That needs to go up.
Aggregate resources license fees as revenue. There has been a few pits that were slightly inactive for a little while. They have become active. And perhaps I should also explain that every ton of material that leaves the township of Bonfield, we get royalties from that. So when they do their pit compliance reports, it says how many tonnage, and we receive royalties from the tonnage.
Yeah, M&R.
Oh,
Yes. So I think without including the plantation, as it's not a total discussion yet, I would have an increase in revenues of approximately $5,690. In the past, the budget has brought in either 50,000 in gas tax or 50,000 in OSIF funds to mitigate any increase in the public works budget. Last year, since I did the reporting for OSIF, we did a large project on Talon Lake Road to mitigate siltation entering the lake. So OSIF was added into the budget to help pay for culverts, riprap, materials that were used to do that project. Total office expenses, an increase of $551. Just because of our recycling program that we're introducing, we want to produce a lot of information to our citizens, make them aware. Communication pagers and radios went up $200. We had to install a new radio in the grader and add an antenna.
You bought a new radio?
The other one was, the other one we installed in our sidewalk John Deere because they often need us. Right.
So what's a radio worth? A couple grand?
Yes.
And how old was the old radio? Like whatever.
16 years old, but we did put it in another piece of equipment. Our total administration expenses will be increased $38.38. Since we purchased the grader, there was a little modification in the insurance. It's $2,200. Our insurance did have an increase this year, which is out of our control. It's like that it's actually like on the radar for most municipalities. We've been paying a lot in insurance and the costs have risen immensely. Miscellaneous increase, $63 for fire extinguisher inspection costs. The loan repayment for the grader is $45,104.80 because we purchased it in February, so we don't have two payments. So that's two payments missing from that, which would be brought forward into our next year's budget. There is a loan being paid off for the resurfacing of Trunk Road, so there's a slight decrease. So it kind of offsets it slightly.
What was the loan for Trunk Road on?
Chip seal.
Where?
When it was resurfaced 16 years ago.
So we're still paying a loan?
Well, we just finished apparently.
And it was the loan is past the assets life.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
16 years.
right. Chip seal's 8. Right,
So double, yeah.
right.
So
So
then
those are
it's
other, now that you have, like the BDO has always said we were lacking in treasury and built those decision-making skills. So I don't, that was before my time as
Yeah.
well.
No, I was just,
Yeah,
I didn't know, because I remember when it was, the whole road was done, and that was a long
yeah,
time
it
ago.
was 16, I believe, or 17 maybe. It was done right before I moved here.
Okay, so that's done now.
It should be fit, it'll be complete this year.
Okay.
Due to increases in EI, CPP this year, increase in WSIB. We also last year hired a full-time laborer for the parks and recreation needs that will occur for this summer. The BDO still hasn't done a journal entry.
Did we
Where-
skip over the livestock value?
No,
Oh,
Oh, you're going line by line, and I'm reading from my paperwork.
oh.
So I apologize
sorry,
about
sorry.
that.
No, that's okay.
So the
I-
livestock valuator does not make 400 and, right, it's because they dropped the entirety of the labor on one line. Their wages, sorry.
and I mean, I did call Ann today about that
Yeah,
and to discuss that.
it's the
So-
same as fuel when you see that further down where there's 200,000. It looks like that was just used in fuel on one vehicle.
But there's no sense trying to address this with this current system we're using, because we're switching over to Town
Right,
Street.
so we can't drill down for details, right? Okay.
So this is just the way, I guess this is the way it is for now, until we switch over to Town
Right.
Street, then we can make the adjustments we want.
Okay.
And we've had a discussion already with our CAO that we will address all those issues when we transfer our general ledger into the Town Streets accounting system. Also when we do the audit with the BDO, they take any overtime, vacation unused, etc., and they remove it from here and bring it forward into 2023. So that it's not reflected yet in the budget that's being presented to you.
Sorry, so you were at PW wages. You can go ahead with that.
Yeah.
That's where you were at.
Okay, so due to the increases in EI contributions, CPP contributions on both sides for the employer and the employee, WSIB, and like I said, we did hire a full-time laborer last year. And the staff received a 75-cent hourly increase last year as well, as per the collective
So
agreement.
was that in the budget to hire a full-time laborer?
That was our 2 times CAO's decision.
That wasn't what I asked. Was the laborer in the budget?
No,
No, okay, so
Okay.
that was, and were you finding the money for that? Like, was there gap money? How were we paying for that?
well, because when that occurs, and honestly, when anything like that occurs, I start pinching from other budget lines. For instance, last year, it was an assumption that the grader would be arriving in July, and they still wouldn't allow the budget to reflect such. So you can see that there's a difference on just the grader with the lease. So when that occurs,
Sorry, and so my other question would be, that position is in the complement, not in the complement?
it's in the complement and was in the complement and was replaced after being removed several years ago.
Okay, so we're adding it back into.
Right, it's always still
2023.
listed in the QP.
In the collective
Union,
agreement.
yes.
Okay, okay.
Loose top gravel, this is when I'm starting to ask for things. I've asked for an additional 30,000 to be added to the budget. Because of the amount of money that we do budget, it's very difficult to do a gravel program with what we do have. We're able to do some short spurts. Graveling should really be a operational maintenance budget item and not a capital budget item. However, we do have already brought forward to do Pine Lake this year, which would put it, because of the amount of money, it would end up in a capital budget. But once we do that, we need to maintain it. So I did put my little wishes in there for an additional $30,000 in gravel.
Now, will you stockpile that gravel? Or-
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Increase for ditching and supplies. So we did speak about at one of our meetings about having to rent a excavator so we could do the ditching on Pine Lake Road as well. And also because of we have to follow conservation permitting and rules and sedimentation controls. Riprap isn't very cheap, and we are working around a lot of water while we're down there.
And we get 3 quotes for all of these things.
It would be tendered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what the excavator?
The excavator, I would just get 3 quotes,
Mhm.
but the gravel itself,
Yeah.
I would be tendered to be put on Pine Lake through the capital budget.
Right.
Yes. Sanding, salting material supplies, an increase of 10,000. I'm like on the bottom of the barrel right now, to be honest. Like if winter goes till May, I have methods of making sure we get that. We go through the whole season. However, there was since I've started, salt has increased about $60 a ton in 8 years. It used to be $90 a ton. It's up to 140.
And how many tons do we use?
100. I can't say off the top of my head right now. It's 3% mix
Probably
of
100
45,000 tons. So yeah,
Close to 100 ton.
yes.
It's like 15 grand.
Right, and especially like now there's often fuel surcharges added to billing. I'm not aware, it did not occur last year. However, I'm aware that the chair did receive some, so I don't know if you received any fuel surcharge. All the fleet licensing, you'll see there was a bit of a jump there. During COVID in 2021, you are not able to, first of all, you're not able to get the stickers for your vehicles through the internet for big trucks. You have to go in person and you couldn't get in. So they gave an exemption. However, we never received that bill until this year.
So, but did we know that we were getting that bill?
It was budgeted for last year, but
So
it's
why
been brought
didn't-
forth this year.
Why didn't we set up a liability? So that it could, so now we're eating it this year
Yes.
instead of last year. So why
Right.
was the liability not set up?
Well, we could possibly put a journal entry to move it.
It's kind of late now,
Yeah,
though.
I don't
We're
think
into
it is because the
April.
BDO is not finished. There'll be lots of journal entries once the BDO is
Okay,
finished.
so then I would recommend that is,
Yeah, there's,
that needs to be a 2022 charge, not a 2023. We're gonna struggle enough in
Right.
2023.
Mhm.
So,
Just note that a journal entry we made for the licensing fee from 2020.
yeah, because you're talking probably $8,000.
Yeah,
Wow. You
5,000.
have-
Oh, it was half. So it was like $2,600 or something to that effect. I just went and bought the stickers. It was $5,037.
Right.
The 3-ton, I put about the increase for the licensing. The grader's decreasing 26,000, but there is still 2 lease payments that are inside that cost because we didn't get the grader until February.
you mean that's carried forward into 2024?
Right, or for this year, because we still had the grader lease in January and we still had it for February, so we had to pay those 2 payments, which is $11,000. But there's still wear parts that you need to purchase for the grader, etc. Maintenance for the steamer this year, we had to redo all the piping on the steamer. It was all rusting out from age, and that was $1,535. So that's why that's reflected already in this budget. However, we saved quite a bit of money this year in propane. Because honestly, this year we've seen very little culverts as
So
opposed to
so
another
is
year.
that, that's for half is that for the winter? So
It's
that
in
would
the
be-
spring use.
Springtime.
Yes,
So how have we saved already?
Because we haven't had to steam any.
it's
culverts.
almost over.
The worst of it's over.
Okay,
The actual use of that piece of equipment is done like in the next week or two.
and then we won't be needing it for 2023.
Right,
So yeah, until spring of 2024.
Okay.
yeah. Backhoe, there's the increase due to the motor going in at $30,000. We did send it back. I'm not aware if we've received our core costs back yet.
So was that the motor at the beginning? of
Mhm.
the
Yes.
year? That's-
Mhm.
So what, do we account for that over expenditure?
Yeah, I don't
somewhere?
know. I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, where do we account for that?
There's, it's going into legal.
Okay,
Okay.
but we still have to account for it.
Yes, however, it may be recouped.
Okay,
Um,
can you hear us, Mary? Are you good?
are you
Are
okay,
talking
Neri?
To me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
do you have
I'm
any
fine.
questions?
I'm
Okay.
listening.
Okay,
I've decreased the building maintenance 10,000. Because last year was our first year going to where it was a full year of just using propane instead of heating oil. So we had a savings of $5,000. And we haven't used that full budget in recent years, so I've dropped it another 5,000. A quick note, there's a budget line in there that says $200,000. So the fuel costs we budgeted last year because there's so much uncertainty with the fluctuation up, down, up, down, up,
Yeah,
down. So we budgeted 200,000 and the actual costs were 863.48. However, when the BDO does the inventory journal entry, so on the December 31st, we measure how much fuel we have, and that gets pulled out of last year's cost and put into this year's cost as inventory. I think there's room for movement in that cost, which could be brought forward at a general government meeting. When I rewrote these reports to go to council, because after committee, we rewrite these reports to go to council to reflect our discussions. I did put a few pointers in there where my largest increases are and where you would be able to scrutinize those increases.
and so would that 50,000 be reflected in your analysis here then?
It is,
It is, okay.
yes.
So that is part of
But
the,
Yes. But we're
We're
still
adding-
don't know, the province of Ontario still hasn't added back their
The
taxes.
carbon tax is coming
Okay,
on, so,
okay.
and it's gonna hit diesel worse than anything.
okay.
Although it did go down considerably per liter, but it's still very uncertain.
And where would I find the landfill, that project that we kind of.
It's in our
rushed
next budget that we discussed for environmental services.
through? Oh, okay.
So the total expenses that I'm presenting to general government will be $1,646,176.80. This is an increase of $176,626. If considering revenue, we remove the 86,000. The increase then would be $90,030.70. And I'm not aware of what our current levy percentage is. Last year was 30,000. So that's an approximate levy increase of 3% coming from the Public Works Department budget. At committee level, we had this discussion. Then when it's brought to general government, that's when we're scrutinized, we all start fighting.
That part of it.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, Mary?
No, I'm prepared to go along with the motion.
Okay.
I think you've explained it very, very well to us, and thank you for that.
No problem, Nary, and
Guess
I'll do
we'll
it
have to go
again.
back.
Yes,
Say it, man.
Right. We don't, we're also unaware of what any potential wage increase is going to be.
that would be reflected in the 2024 budget. The negotiations aren't due until December 31st, unless council feels it necessary.
So maybe you could talk a bit about this background.
I gave a little background information on the few past budgets. I put that information there just because our acting CAO would not be privy to such, nor would our current CAO. However, we're starting to have these discussions. She did review what I've presented to you this evening.
And we wouldn't know about it. And I mean, it does ultimately affect us.
It does
also.
affect this council's levy decisions.
Right.
So in 2021, due to COVID, that council at the time, they felt that they didn't want to put an increase due to people staying at home, people not having work, etc. So we just rolled over the 2020 budget into 2021 without any discussion on such. However, we did take on a loan for the Freightliner, and there was a wage increase with the staff through QP. In 2022, the budget had, we had a budget that we had presented that it was around like the 6.9% mark. And then that assessment growth was used to drop that down by 1.3%. So when those actions happen, it's kind of allowing us still to have the money. However, we've never levied for it.
We just keep pushing it forward.
Correct.
Yes.
So
You're starting at 1.3%.
Yeah,
we have to play catch up.
yeah.
Yes.
That was short-term gain for long-term pain.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
what that was.
So there's those, and I'm sure that when Brian Rogers presents his budget to the general government as a whole, he will describe all those items for you.
Mhm.
He's the man.
No, it's good. I mean, it's good information.
It's gonna be, quite frankly, I think, part of a communication strategy, because I don't think this is gonna be a pretty budget year.
No, it's
No,
not.
no,
So we're gonna
no.
have to work hard communicating the breakdown of how the budget, and
Dang,
cost of inflation,
there's my-
cost of catching up for past decisions of no increase, I mean, the reality is the costs continue to go up. So if we don't have increasing revenues to offset that, well.
Well, we've got the MPAC assessment as well. Now, 8 years worth of MPAC assessment.
Absolutely.
Right, so,
It's going to be something.
yeah.
Well, that's actually quite scary. It'll be interesting to watch what the province does with that,
Yeah.
because if we can all look at our own property values and say, we're at X dollars and we're gonna jump up
The COVID
30%.
costs.
Yeah, well, a 30% increase in your assessment value all of a sudden has a pretty significant increase
Yes.
on your tax rate if the municipality doesn't do something. So
So I hope that you can appreciate that the budget I've just presented to you is super tight
Mm.
still. I did express my little wishes within the
Well,
operational budget.
We still
But
have
it
to
is
move
very
forward
tight.
with stuff.
Yeah,
well, quite frankly, and your wishes are wonderful. I wish we had room to do
Yes,
more than
I
that, to be
understand.
honest.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree, and I think this is tight. It's at 3%. I bet you our costs have gone up more than 3%.
Yes.
So
And,
Really?
and I described to our new CAO today, like, if you would see something starting to get out of control in one budget line, you would start kind of stealing from the other to always maintain the bottom
Yeah.
line, even though the accounts may not reflect such.
Right.
We would always try to keep that bottom
Bottom
line.
line.
mhm.
no, it's good.
So we may not buy culverts, or we would not do an activity that we plan on doing within our operational budget.
And this is a very important component of our budget, so, and will be
It's
scrutinized.
the biggest part of
It
it.
is, it is. So, we can look at other areas of the budget too and move things around
Yes.
if we have to.
Right.
So, and I know, we're probably going to get to the point where we're looking at $300 here and $200 there. That's how tight I think it's
Yes.
going to get. it's gonna be a tough year, so
Mhm.
we're gonna have to.
What
tighten
people
our
will
belts.
expect of us.
Exactly.
But we have a great capital budget to present to general government, and
Can't wait.
it's not, it doesn't impact levy. So I think that it would be a good trade-off, you know, like we're really trying to provide something to the community. And we have to do what we have to do to function as a business and maintain our levels of
Well,
service.
we can't let our assets diminish. I mean,
No, yeah.
you know, we're already behind the 8 ball.
Yes. So we do have a motion to recommend this to general government, our budget for, did you get all
Your
that,
worship.
Mary?
Your worship, do you want to move the motion? And I'll write your name?
I'm good with it.
And you're going to see about moving that one cost.
Yes, I will.
Because again,
Yes.
every little bit helps
Yes.
us, right? So,
Moved by Paquette, seconded by Corbett, whereas the Public Works Committee has received the Public Works operating budget and that the Public Works Committee recommends to council that it be referred to general government for consideration. All in favor? Carried.
well done, Anne.
Yeah, good job, man.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
You're welcome.
7.2, review of environmental service budget for referral to general government.
Did you want a paper copy of that one too? It's
No,
only a few pages.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
thank
I'm
you.
okay.
Yeah.
The way you walk through
Yeah, yeah,
your
that
notes
was,
was helpful. We didn't
yeah.
have to line by line. So we're good.
So we're going to discuss our environmental services budget. We run the landfill already at very low cost, I think. Are we doing all the right things? Perhaps not. But I think it's a great move forward, what we're doing with our recycling program. We're supporting our provincial policies through the Circular Materials Act. However, there would be a cost increase. But one step at a time and we'll get there, right? I increased our landfill tipping fees by 5,000 due to in 2023, our tipping fees increased and they increase again this year. So we do our tipping fees by 3 years at a time. We are rewriting our bylaw, so there will be set fines for anyone that throws material in the ditches. People that believe that their yard is able to be a landfill will be addressed in the bylaw. So there is a potential for revenue as well with that. Large increasing last year, it's not reflective of that large increase when we took the Highway 11 material to the landfill, the riprap. So that's not a normal reflective number. So it shouldn't be really
The
thought of.
122,000, yeah.
Yes,
And that's in reserve now. right?
yes, it's been put into a reserve. Our recycling revenue that we receive from Waste Diversion Ontario, the data call through RIPRA, Resource Productivity Recovery Authority. So we do that every year and we receive funds back for our recycling program. It increased last year, so I put a $2,000 increase for the costs in 2022. And then next year, it'll be very reflective of what we're trying to do with our recycling program. Total environmental revenue is 52,000, which is a $10,000 increase. The environmental services expenses. Last year, we removed all the backhoe tires that we were going because of nails, etc., that we pick up in the landfill. We moved it into the budget in last year. So it wasn't reflected in the budget. So now it will be reflected in this year's budget, but it was removed from the budget of Public Works. So
It was removed.
I removed all the tires that we've had used in the Public Works budget and used those numbers to bring it forward back into the environmental services
Because
budget.
that's where
That's where it
tires are
all
getting
happened.
wrecked is in the
Is in the
landfill.
landfill.
Right, so we
Okay.
should let the tipping fees,
Right.
pay for the cost. Insurance and taxes, the insurance increase for the landfill for $318.60. The consultant report increase of $2,908. So we're able to shoot the grades of the landfill as per the recommendations given to us from the post-closure report. And this also would be a great year to do that with us introducing the recycling program to actually see the amounts and the change in the topography of our landfill.
When was the last report?
It's been years since it's been shot, but we do have GIS. So in there, we take a picture every so many years.
Mhm.
So we're able to see the changes in the topography because it's actually, the topography is listed on the mapping system, but it's
It's
not
not as
like,
accurate as the
Yes.
GPS coming in and shooting the top of the
Yeah,
garden.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
We had a new consultant do our post-closure. So they have removed 30 years from the landfill's useful life because one portion of the landfill they feel is unusable because it's all bedrock, which enables leachate to happen. So
But
that,
wasn't it there the whole time?
right.
So.
No,
Right.
I mean.
It was
yeah.
it was
that
allowed years ago when they got the licensing, but they feel that now it would not be.
So, and to be clear, this is why we're going after the recycling so hard, is because we just lost 30 years
Yeah.
on the landfill.
Right.
So what is our remaining time?
Right. And however, like doing the GPS shooting, the topography of the landfill, it'll also paint a clearer picture because of the lack of scales at our landfill. We don't know how much material is going in by tonnage.
Did he give you an estimated time of what our closure date is? How many years? we
In
have left?
54 years from now.
Yeah, so I mean. it
Right, and
sounds
then
like
you
a
have
long
to
Oh,
time.
that's not a long time.
Right. And it's actually $1.9 million to close the landfill.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
I just looked at everything and it's that amount because there's so much that has to be done to close the landfill. It still has to be monitored. All the material has to be capped, grass has to be grown, cells closed, it's astronomical
Yeah,
just to
what,
close the
10 or
landfill.
20 years of monitoring after it
Yes.
closes.
Never
And-
mind finding another.
Right.
So
And that's-
we have to have
Operational.
so much in reserves for closure now.
Now that we lost 30 years, that is going to be an increase on what we reserve for that closure.
What do we have in reserves for closure already?
I can't answer you this evening on that. I know they have been diligent on their closure reserves. Actually, the BDO mandates through the audit that reserve is established and removed from the budget.
Okay, and do we have like a one, the return on investment where we're paying ourselves to build another one as well?
You won't build another one. The minute, it's very tough. I don't think you will get another landfill.
We may be in an opportunistic position just where the landfill is located. We do own all that plantation.
So you
How could we enlarge it? It would be a discussion with the MOE to have that.
you could try to expand the existing one as long as you don't. Well, you can try and expand it, but just putting the paperwork in is $100,000.
But so 54 years from now, if we're shutting this down, are we not, we're putting money aside to close it? Are we not putting money aside to
Not at this
mitigate
moment.
what else because
Right.
that's
Well,
kind of.
It'll come
like-
through the asset management
And
plan.
then, in all fairness to Ann, she just lost, 30 years off the land.
In a day.
In a day.
I was talking to you. I was.
One report,
No,
one
but it was-
report.
Yeah.
So I
yeah,
mean, this year she's like, I just lost 30 years.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's something we should look at by end of our term anyways, that
Yeah.
to put something in play to start expanding.
And
Yeah.
just to let you know that we are thinking of our future in discussions with the planning and development manager. The official plan will note that property remain with the township
Yeah.
for those reasons.
And do we have a lot of property attached? And
Yes, there's that's a 100-acre parcel.
Okay.
Yes,
that's where our tall trees are. right?
that's right. So I budgeted $4,200. I'm not quite sure if that's enough yet because the BDO dictates to us what they're going to put into a reserve. Landfill passes was when we started our new system. So that was our baseline for starting the new system. So I put an increase of $600 just for new passes, new people move in, we cut that pass off, etc. Recycling miscellaneous, I increased it by 100,000, just, or 100,000, $100. Whoa, whoa. $100, just to help us with the clear bags in our promotion for our recycling. So we've already purchased some. We're gonna wait closer to the date to start handing them out to our residents. Because right now we pay $241.35 per lift for our recycling. So when we take the bin away and it gets taken over there and then it comes back, I increased that budget by $25,000. Last year, actually, our citizens were recycling more, and we did have higher expenditures that were not budgeted for. So I budgeted an additional $25,000 for the recycling program. In 2025, when we have our other discussions about the transition from producer responsibility, so the producers are going to pay somebody to come in and do our recycling program. We're still working on our statement of work. It still has to go to legal, etc. We could possibly end up as a service provider to the people that come and collect. So our position would be just to make sure it's not contaminated, that there's not a lot of foam, etc. We would still have to maintain that person there, but it looks very reasonable that we would be paid back approximately 80% of the cost of recycling. So the influx that this year gives, so the 25,000 to do our recycling program, in 2025, when we transition, the money's still there and we've already levied. So we can start incorporating other measures at the landfill to prevent what's going into the
And
landfill
that's the 12,000
from the WDO currently.
for the Lego box.
Yeah,
That's what that went into?
yes,
Okay. And that will be finished, I guess, this spring. right?
Yes.
Okay.
once we have that 1 second once we get all of the roads are always my priority. Once we get those back in shape, 16 degrees next week. Then we'll be back to move everything and just get it all set up.
Yeah, and again, I mean, with the landfill, I mean, eventually we are gonna have to look at a compactor of some sort. I mean, we can't keep doing it with tobacco.
Right.
We're killing ourselves. We're not
Right.
compacting nothing.
Mhm.
So we're losing valuable space.
And how much does that cost?
I used one year, 250,000, 80,000.
Oh,
Today.
wow. And someone can't come in and do it for us?
Nobody
that-
has one.
Do you have one?
We've been.
And what's the floating
Yeah,
cost?
yeah, can we borrow?
Or what's the
That's what I'm
float cost?
saying,
I mean,
yeah.
there is a private contractor in Boston that has one, but he doesn't like to float it around.
But
It
what
just
about
stays in
But our
Boston.
friends that,
So our landfill right now, they said whatever, 54 years or whatever it was. If we got a shredder and dug everything up and shredded it and compacted it and put it back down, would we gain lifespan back?
Well, because
20%.
you're opening the whole entire top of the face, it would have to be reburied.
I did ask that, I have asked that question, and the environmentalist said 20, you'd maybe gain 20%.
But you would have.
Because
a ton of
honestly, it's only the
scaffold.
top layers that aren't well
Very
Very
compacted.
expensive to
do
mine
it.
it, yeah.
okay,
But
and if we had one of these machines, could we rent it out?
every,
Right?
You would have to
Did it-
float it.
well, the people that want to rent it would pay for the floating, but you could potentially, but
Is that a thing that people want to do? I mean, we want to do it, so could other
mean,
municipalities?
Equipment often doesn't get shared amongst municipalities.
because if something happens, who's responsible for it? And Ann's not gonna send her operator to go run it somewhere else, because she needs her operator, right?
Oh, she's getting some money for it, we might.
Yeah,
right?
if
Yeah,
that
I
salary's
mean,
being
and if
paid for
that's
3 days of,
sharing the cost of it, because we can't afford it as a small municipality,
Not
but
right
we
now.
Well,
can as,
And that's why I was kind of, a little disappointed that 125,000 went into general reserves. That should have stayed with the landfill. That would have been a good down payment for that compactor.
It's still there.
Yeah.
It's just not designated.
yeah, right, so we could do something with that.
We need, like, I know it's a cost. I mean, it's a big cost,
yeah.
but so is the landfill.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
But
So,
perhaps that could be part of our planning for the 54 years and moving into
So
more
you're saying-
property.
2 pieces of machinery,
no,
compactor
yeah,
and a shredder.
no, well, the shredder you just bring in once a year.
You rent it.
You rent it, a company comes in, they shred everything, like all the big everything but household garbage, they shred. And yeah, and again, that's something we need to look at is taking all construction material and putting it off to the side instead of going into the landfill.
because we can get rid of that.
But we can shred it and,
And then-
and you take all the volume away from it.
Right.
So it's
right.
not
Right. And what's the cost of shredding in Nipissing
25 grand.
per shot?
Yeah, but we would do that once a year, right? We would
But
pile
you're-
it up.
How many
Yeah.
times a year do you do it in
Once.
Nipissing? Once?
Yeah.
When
But
you
it's,
say per shot, it's to get it there, run it continuously until you're done.
No, they
2,
come,
3
they,
days.
yeah, they're there a couple of days. They work like an 8-9 hour day and they
they
shred.
take your crap away, right?
No, they
If
don't
this
take
is
it away, they
something the
just
committee
shred it.
wants to bring forward, we can add it to the
Well, I'm not
budget
saying
and have
this
it
year, I'm
removed.
just saying this
Right.
is something we should be,
Looking
I think we
into.
need to be
we know that
cognizant of,
this budget is gonna be hard,
Yeah.
but
We
But
need
we-
to do the cost benefit analysis. That's what we need to do. So if this is going to bring us to a place where we're getting a lot of value from it, then it's definitely worth it. And again, if we can maybe make some money with the other, I'm sure other municipalities are having the same discussion, right?
yeah, I mean, like I said, look at the cost of a landfill.
Yeah,
Somebody brings the shredder around.
Yeah, I mean, they come up here once a year. So
So if somebody
We could
brings
all
the
get
shredder
a do-
around, why wouldn't they bring a compactor around?
they don't do the compacting. But you should be compacting more than once a year because we get so much.
you should do it every time you push the landfill.
Right, so when
Right.
they do it once a week, that's when your compactor would,
so East Nipissing has one. Who else has one? Do we know?
East Ferris has a dozer.
Yes.
Okay.
The compactor-
No one has one.
Nobody has a compactor around here yet. Well, except for one private guy in Blossom.
Okay. And like, how much business does he do? Does he do a lot of business?
He just leaves at that one landfill,
Okay.
so that should, tell you something.
Do you have any questions, Mary, or comments?
I mean, we gotta look at creative ways of doing.
Well,
it, right?
I've had lots of questions throughout, but I didn't get a chance to ask them.
Oh, go ahead,
Um,
Mary.
I'm wondering with the changes that we're proposing, if that's going to, we certainly can't go and undo what has transpired over the years. But I'm just wondering what you're proposing or what we're proposing to the public, if that's going to slow it down.
we're just discussing like future of the landfill. We're not putting it on the budget for this year or anything.
No.
We're just kind of throwing ideas out to try and preserve the landfill.
We're blue skying here.
They're dreaming,
Yeah,
Mary.
we're just trying to think. Sometimes when you talk things through, these ideas get flushed out and then all of a sudden we come up with.
Because I
something.
also think it's a good idea that if we should talk about it in the context of before we go and spend the reserves, the unrestricted reserves on something else. If that's half of the payment on something, maybe we look to say, well, we got to keep it there. No, next time we get another chunk of money, we're going to put that away. And next time we're going to put that away. And then
I think what Neri was asking was if, with all the changes with clear bags and recycling properly, is it going to extend the lifespan of the
Yes.
landfill?
Everything is based right now on what we do today.
Mhm. Okay.
The 54 years. There is a possibility we actually gain back time.
Mhm. If we're careful.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you think if everybody took 2 bags to the landfill a week and you drop it to 1, I mean, you're,
In the
Probably
township
not.
of Strong, I believe, their bag limit is 36 a year.
well, isn't Chisholm one bag of 52?
Yes.
Mhm.
So are we looking at
Yeah,
changing the
As
bag limit?
difficult,
Go ahead.
as difficult as it is, it's probably going to be a very good thing for our municipality. The changes that we're proposing. Because
I
listening
agree.
to you talk about the cost and what it takes to close the landfill site down and open another one, I think it's certainly a good move to make these changes now.
I agree.
I agree too.
I think one of the biggest things is because of the newspaper article and some social media and stuff, is just being transparent and coming up with a document that we can put on Facebook, on our website. The costs. Straight from our township. This is what it costs to keep the landfill. This is what it, our landfill was supposed to be this many years. Now it's this many. Here's what it costs to close the landfill. We may not ever get a chance to open another one. Lay everything out so that people can see that we're not trying to charge them money. We're not trying to cost them money. We're not trying to make their lives harder. We're trying to actually preserve our landfill and trying to, preserve their tax.
There's an
dollars, right?
actual reason why we're going
Right.
down this.
Right.
this
I mean,
road.
I just think, and I was guilty of it too until I got into it. You just take it for granted
Yeah.
that it's there and it'll be there forever.
Yeah.
Right, so we've been working on another flyer to hand out. Because we don't want to repeatedly give the same flyer out until July 1st.
Right.
So we're working on one now where, like I said, I went through that little exercise with my kids and I used a clear bag and to see like how I can break it down to perhaps people really do not know how to recycle. So we're gonna make a thing up where it says what can go in plastic, what can't go in plastic, what can go here, what can't go there, what your garbage should have in it.
And was there a blue box program?
We are looking into it and I
at
have it
some
in my
point?
manager's
Okay,
report.
yeah, I think that would be helpful to let people know too. I know that there were some comments about that. I think I got something about
Yeah.
what should go in a blue box when I first moved here, so.
And-
um,
And then
Right.
another one of our flyers, we're going to do that, what Steve has spoke of, we're
Yeah.
going to do like,
the
this is what
breakdown.
it costs, $1.9 million to close our landfill. And these are the reasons why, because it's broken down by cost as to where that 1.9, and that's today's cost.
Right. That's today's
Not
cost.
54 years from
And
now's
that's,
cost.
that is recycling and actual garbage. What about compost?
Compost
I-
rots.
I looked at, you're talking about having a compost at the landfill?
Just composting, like I've got a lot of wet waste. I mean, I don't even mind composting where I am, but I think there might need to be some kind of education piece or, I know you do compost?
No, I was gonna, so I was talking to a former ministry of environment. You can't compost at the landfills.
No,
Because it just brings in too much
Animal.
animals.
animals
Okay.
and gases and.
Yes.
Well,
So-
it needs to be actually worked and there's a program,
mean,
right?
Right,
That
however,
food
there is
cycle
funding that
coming
just came
around.
up I have to read it through to use the gases that are emitted from your landfill and how to capture those. There's funding out for it now. And actually just yesterday, they released funding on promoting being able to recycle foam,
Hmm.
which I don't think anyone does in this area.
Hamilton, like being from Hamilton, everything was recyclable.
Yes.
Our house was like a garbage bag a week, this big, like everything else went out. They provided the bins,
The
they
problem
provided-
being up north
The
is
shipping
the
costs.
cost of shipping. So that's
Yeah.
why. Go ahead.
If we thought of different mediums in addition to flyers to try and get some message out, and I'm just gonna throw out, listen now, if I say the word social media, Donna's gonna jump on the bandwagon, because we know,
We gotta
need-
get on
we know.
that. We gotta get on
So I don't want
that.
to get down too far down the
Yeah,
path,
yeah,
but yes, I agree. But even if, I don't know, a virtual or a walkthrough video tour of when we get the landfill where we want it to be and the recycling how we want it to be, doing some sort of a video for those that don't necessarily read and digest a flyer very well. And we can post that on the website. And then to
Mhm.
Steve's point, whether we have our social media sites or we use our own social media sites, try and get that out and just spread that word. Like, I'm just trying to think of different mediums,
Right.
because a flyer is a flyer, and it's great that you're looking to print something that's different than the one you gave last week so that maybe people don't get bored of reading it. But I'm pretty sure we're
Yeah.
probably seeing a lot of flyers in the landfill. on
And
those.
actually, we're defeating the purpose by adding more paper.
Yes.
Right. And I'm wondering is it possible to actually give that flyer on the way out to people? Because we would have a better shot of them holding on to it for a week
On the way out, oh, of the
Instead of
of the
way in.
landfill. Yeah,
landfill instead of the
yeah.
way in.
Also, I mean,
Because they get it and
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll
hey,
try.
recycle it.
we have events coming up too, so we can at every event, maybe, talk to people, right? Yeah, like we're there to be promoting it and educating and, right, there's an Easter egg hunt coming up. We can somehow tap into
You know,
recreation.
and.
We could do something like, there's all kinds of simple ways to do something, like we could just go in and do a little presentation to the school,
Yeah,
which teaches our children better on recycling. And going through, finding the authority for the bylaw, and going through the Circular Economy Act. It's actually, they have like little YouTube videos that we could add to the website, and it's a little YouTube video.
are you writing all this down?
The amount of
Because-
people that said that they never got the last flyer is like, I would say 50%.
We
Talking to
printed
people.
400,
Yeah.
we still
Oh,
have
I think they
some,
got them.
Yeah,
I just think they got them, didn't even realize what they got and put it in their recycling at the exact same time they put everything. That's what I'm saying.
Or
If we can
not.
give it on the way out.
yeah.
Or
We
garbage.
have
right.
to multimedia this, like the message has to go not just one way. And I mean, I think I'm for a monthly newsletter. I think a monthly newsletter, because I do like that medium. I think a lot of people do too, but we need a social media campaign. Then we need to be, most importantly, we need to be leading by example, right? So our clear bags should be going now so that,
Yeah, and I
When-
mean, like, again, on the clear bag thing, we're gonna run this in late fall until it's like a hard.
Yeah.
So people can use up their stock.
Yeah.
however, they could use their black bags to put their recycling in, to dispose of the recycling in the recycling bins.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I didn't want to drag on the whole clear bag thing very long. However, like, I just want to describe like the Circular Economy Act, if someone read the legislation on that, the whole purpose of recycling is to leave a small footprint in all manners. It took a tree to make paper and cardboard. If we throw it in the landfill, it takes another tree to make paper and cardboard. To manufacture cardboard and paper takes fuel to manufacture it, which is carbon.
And
And that's how we're trying to create the circular
Yeah.
economy, by recycle the material. Now we're not using more fuels to manufacture more. We're not taking down trees. And that's all like, that's with aggregate now, asphalt now.
single-use plastic. I
Yes,
mean,
it's
of
all
that.
coming. We all
Yeah.
have to
and
do
what
that.
people don't really realize, we're not making these rules.
No, it's a provincial
It's a provincial-
policy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
so we have to enforce them and
Right.
follow them.
Problem is our township is so far behind with a lot of this stuff that we're trying to play catch up now.
Right.
And it's hitting everybody quickly.
Yes, but
Yeah.
it is, like, I had a lady, a resident call me and I said, it's not about the inconvenience. And she was very understanding when we spoke to her about it.
Mary, do you have any more to add?
No, that's good, thanks.
Okay. We'll move on. We beat
We're
that
supposed
horse.
to make it a short meeting.
Yeah. Moved by Clark, second by Corbett, whereas the Public Works Committee has reviewed the environmental service budget and that the Public Works Committee recommends to council that it be referred to general government for consideration. All in favor? Carried.
Sorry, I was looking at Neri.
Unfinished business.
So I postponed the unfinished business because the chair was adamant that this evening we just have our budget discussions.
What is referral form? Complaint tracking.
So I'll describe like usually, I had several complaints when we started on the speed limit process about the speed on Pine Lake Road, So that's where I would put things that are derived from the complaints of our citizens.
That is too
That's good.
fast or too slow?
Right, so in the agenda though, if I feel there's something that needs to be referred to council for consideration through our complaint tracking system, I bring it forward in public.
Where do we have
works.
access to that complaint track? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Where do we
It's
have
all
access to that?
paper.
I don't think we have access to that.
Is there a
all
way for
paper.
us to get access to, because it's great if you're gonna put it on the agenda, but again, it's gonna come through the lens of you trying to figure out what's relevant or not. I
Right, like
would
on a
love
day
the
like when it's
ability-
freezing rain,
Yeah,
you would be receiving.
right. And that's not what I'm looking for, but if there was a way to actually have access to what responses we're getting from the ratepayers
Right.
about the service that we're giving, maybe it's compliments and maybe it's complaints, but it
You
would be
got
nice
two
to have-
last week.
it would be nice to be able to observe the trends that are happening. Like,
Yes.
you know, I'm not so worried about the one-offs because that's a staffing issue. It's more the trends on behalf of the corporation where we would probably.
Like I said, like I brought forward the trend of the people's concerns for the 80 kilometers on Pine Lake
Yeah, yeah.
Road or Grand Desert. I don't know if the proper trending would come through my department
No.
in complaint tracking because being public works, our complaints are not really trending. They're always the same
Right.
seasonally.
So this is what performance measures would do, right? And so this is where on a global scale that we need to be figuring out what our metrics are for Bondfield and what our performance measures are so that people know how many times did, and this is if we're already tracking it, then it's easy. There's quantitative, which is quite easy because it's just the number, right? It's the number of people that call in, and then we can do it by categories. It's the qualitative stuff that's a little trickier. So, but it's good because it will actually show how we're improving, right? So if we get 25 complaints in January of this year of snow removal, and then next January we're benchmarking, oh, we've only got 10. Something's changing, right? And so,
How much manpower does that take?
oh, not a lot. If they're
Every
already
time there's a
tracking,
complaint, we write it
yeah,
out
if
on a
they're already
form.
tracking, it's not, it's a quick spreadsheet and
And it could be actually already being tracked through, I get complaints through several mediums. I get it through the app.
Yeah.
The
Mm.
township app. I get them through Webmaster.
Yeah.
I got them through the website. I got them by phone.
yeah, it's not as onerous as you think, and it is very good information for us to track.
It could be as simple as an Excel spreadsheet
Yeah.
with general categories that you
Absolutely.
would choose from in a drop down to be like, is it about road maintenance? Is it about, if you, and then you can sort by that category, you can see, sort by category, sort
And
by
then
date, and you have all the information. you
Push
need.
out a little report, that's it, and it's something that I think will help us measure how we're doing.
It's part of the asset management plan as we move forward as well, performance measurements. Yes.
Awesome.
Manager's report.
Okay, the manager's report, working on bylaw for the landfill and recycling, which is gonna capture all of that, all garbage, not just at the landfill. It will be all
And
encapsulated
what
in
do
there.
we have an ETA for that, or?
ETA, I'm gone for a week, possibly the last council meeting in April. And it takes about 4 weeks to send it to the court system to get the fine set. Working on speed limit bylaw. I did go to police services board. There'll be another conversation with the police services board regarding the speed limits. Preparing the tender for the, yes,
And if I may,
yes, you may.
The Police Services Board was going to provide information to our planning manager. She's also the secretary of the Police Services Board. We did bring that issue up at the Police Services Board in our last meeting.
Yes.
It was referred to the Police Services Board.
Yes, so they're going to provide us some information such as where most of our accidents are. Information like that to
Yes,
bring forward to us. You're breaking up a bit, Neri. Oh, there we go.
Frozen.
She's still
No,
talking?
she's not frozen.
Your worship, are you done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we thought you were frozen.
I just wanted to let you know it did come to the police services board
Yes, it
Okay.
did.
for a
Thank you.
referral.
And I assume that will dictate, that will help navigate through, because it's 60 kilometers an hour unless otherwise posted. So
Right.
this will help us figure out where the otherwise posted should
And
be.
making sure that we've made the right decision. It kind of, it all goes together, like your
Right, but
data.
from
your-
metrics, we're gonna know if
Yes.
reducing the speed limit
Right.
or changing the speed limit
Yes.
actually decreases the number of incidences, right? That's great.
We've begun our pothole filling on both gravel and hard surface roads. It's a never ending battle at this time of year when it's thaw, freeze. Actually, one day we were filling potholes and had to stop on gravel to go plow.
Yeah.
And it's very spooky because you just invested gravel on roads and now you don't want to plow it off.
Right.
Today was very hard to plow, like, because everything's thawed out underneath and you may not see that, but it is.
Well, and what people don't realize, you got a lot of weight there and it may not move around with the car, but with the truck, it's gonna
Yes.
dig into the gravel and
Yes,
potentially
and that's with
damage
all the chain,
truck.
like all the weight on the chain. It's very difficult right this time of year
with
and at the
wheels.
beginning
Yeah, that was a terrible storm.
and spooky.
Yeah.
And we make
Yeah.
decisions, like, for instance, today the weather report was never right, and I bet you it changed 40 times
Yeah.
today. And that's what we depend on to dictate how we react to a system. So leaving that granular sugary stuff on there, we could see in the weather, oh, it's gonna go to liquid freezing rain. So you let the sugary stuff stay there, so the liquid freezing rain goes on the sugary stuff, and then we plow it off instead of trying to mitigate all the roads turning to ice.
Mhm.
So often perhaps our citizens don't see the reasoning in our decision making, but there is a reason and we're not ignoring anyone.
Right.
Absolutely.
The rink is closed. However, a calendar, I gave Troy a little nudge there because he went and flooded last Saturday when it turned 13 below to be last.
Oh.
In
Our
calendar,
rink, you mean?
in
Like our
calendar.
rink? Oh, in calendar, yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him, he can be last.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
You can have that badge.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We pushed the snowbanks in the ditch a few weeks ago so that ensures water can get to the ditch when we get into the season. All the clear bags are purchased. I do have a question because I don't want to purchase too many recycling bins and have them still,
Mhm.
because we're not really budgeting for it because we're going to resell them
Mhm.
back to the public. So I'm going through a company that does like wholesaling to municipalities. And it's about 10.09, but I have to give a number which could change the price.
So that price, how many is that buying us at that price?
That's 100
I'm,
each. And
So
we put a
economy of
logo
scale.
still on it.
Economy of scale will get it better as we go up or,
Yes.
okay,
like, it would be interesting to see how that scale.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if we go to 250, is it significantly
Yeah.
cheaper per bin, or
Yeah.
is it 3 cents per bin?
Yeah.
Because I don't want us to be
No.
stuck with all these
No,
bins.
I
No, I
agree.
agree.
I think we need to buy, at first, just buy, find a happy medium, buy that allotment and see if they
See.
move.
What's
We
the
usually
turnaround
see
time
about
to get-
400 people on a Saturday.
So here's my thoughts. I think how big is this bin?
Well, it's 46 liters. So
Is it
for
the big
instance,
one?
Do we
the
have-
garbage can that, because I did look at some at the Dollarama.
Yeah.
I was in there and I just thought, oh, they got recycling bin,
Okay.
but they're about the size of a desk garbage, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yes,
At
they're the little
26
ones,
liter
That's right.
is $5.
So this is what I would do. I would price them at like Home Depot or
Oh.
whatever, the exact same thing, see how much they are. And then if, right, 100, 200, 300, what is our price? If it is a significant savings, why wouldn't we be passing that on to
Yes.
our residents, right?
Right,
So-
exactly.
So if we, again, the cost benefit analysis, so let's do the cost benefit analysis, see how much we're saving, and then we can tell people, rather than going and spending $15 at Home Depot, here, you can have one for 10
Well,
bucks,
I was
right?
gonna say, we just bought one, and I don't know if it's the same size, but it was $20. at
Yeah.
Home-
Yes.
Home Depot, it's like
Same.
the square one, like that, by like, normal recycling bin.
But we're trying to use our municipal
Logo.
abilities to get
Yeah.
cheaper.
No,
Yeah.
no, no,
I
I'm
love
just
that. I love
saying,
it.
Yeah. me too.
Dan was just impatient.
no, but I'm just saying,
But
that's half the cost. If they're the same size, you're getting
Yeah.
for half the cost.
Right.
Right.
And
So
s-
from
so
this
we
company,
can
it's 4 to 6 weeks delivery.
That's,
It's a bit of a
that's
turnaround.
okay,
And
that's
our
okay,
logo on.
because people are using their black.
We have a
garbage
while.
bags, right?
I think 100 is a no-brainer. I think we'll go
Yes.
through 100 easily. I'm in for 2, if not 3,
Yeah,
because I'm
yeah,
actually
me
gonna start
too.
breaking down my recycling now, be it like tin. and
Exactly, like I
glass
would want
and-
3, I would buy
right.
3,
Yeah,
yes.
so,
Okay. I have a motion to go forward at the council meeting,
okay,
to instruct me to do so.
if you can figure out if there's.
Oh,
a
I
price
actually
break-
have a recommendation
I-
from the manager's.
I
report.
also think 250, you're not gonna get stuck with them, but that's just my opinion and I could be wrong, but I'm like, if it's $2 a difference per bin, because you go to 250, well, then I'm
Right.
interested in going 250. It's
In all
3 cents then.
honesty, if there are remaining, the library probably could use some. I know for sure at Public Works, we would need some.
But see what
Um,
the breakdown is and how much we are saving, and do a little cost comparison to,
Yeah.
because I think that would really be helpful.
Mary, do you have anything to add?
If you order only 100 and then people want them, then they're not going to be happy if we don't have enough, right? So-
So,
I guess the
So-
more you order, you'll probably get it cheaper. You'll get it for less money. Is that right, Ann?
Yes, and I'm coordinating my efforts with the sticker being put on for the township logo.
That's great.
So we'll make it work.
yeah, I mean, we could look, I
Okay.
mean, we could go 250. I mean,
But I also think if the stickers are costing money and it's expensive, we don't need a sticker. We just need a blue box, right? We don't need to spend money on a sticker. Sorry.
But I would say if it's revenue neutral, if we're able to keep that as revenue neutral, it's fantastic advertising.
It is,
Yes,
but I'm more concerned about, and again, I say, take care of the pennies and the dollars will take care of
Let-
themselves.
we'll
So
let
yes,
Ann
if
figure it
it's
out.
revenue neutral, exactly, that's fine, but
Let Ann figure it out.
Okay.
on logo.
So we do have a recommendation coming from the manager's report in regards to the purchase of the recycling bins.
So I got it here.
Okay, I'm like, did we forget to write that?
Yeah.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Clark, where the Public Works Committee recommends to council that recycling bins be purchased and labeled with the township logo and be offered for sale at the cost to the residents. Oh, for sale at cost to the residents that would like to purchase one.
Yeah,
All in favor?
optional logo, optional.
Oh my goodness, eh? God.
Carried.
Might be able to get whatever company to actually like print them right on it. not
If
even
it's cheaper,
see a
sure,
sticker.
yeah.
Yeah, that's.
We'll
Yeah,
investigate.
whatever is cheaper,
Custom
yeah,
logo.
Yeah.
because it's just gonna get dirty. right?
And that's all I have this evening, unless Parks and Recreation has some wishes from their meeting. So at this point in the meeting, because often Parks and Recreation involves the Public Works staff.
Right.
At this point in the meeting, if there's some kind of request that you need to bring forward, it would be now as well.
I don't
I
think
already
we
know.
have anything at
Okay.
this point.
We'll call that good news.
Good news.
Adjournment.
And have a good Easter weekend. Oh, well, we're all gonna meet tomorrow anyways.
Oh, yes, we're all meeting
yes,
tomorrow
we're
for
all here
the,
tomorrow, 6 o'clock, right?
Neri, your worship, I wrote your name down to move the next motion, if that's okay.
Pardon?
I wrote your name down to move the motion for adjournment. Hope that's okay.
Oh, good.
Moved by Paquette, seconded by Corbett, that this meeting be adjourned at
8:20.
8:20, all in favor? Carried. Good night, everyone.
Happy Easter, everyone.
How are your sales going?
Same to you.
Not.
You're welcome.